Hello and welcome to Money Flows Like Water, Build Your Channels. I am going to dive into a guided meditation. Thanks everyone for coming this evening, and thank you for watching if you're watching this later, and I hope it builds your channels. So the first thing I want you to do is you can close your eyes or not. I tend to close my eyes when I do guided meditation. I leave my eyes open when I'm doing normal meditation. If you cannot hear me, you could chat me in the next minute or so, and I can turn up the volume on my end. And so other than that, I want you to notice that you're breathing. Just notice that you're breathing. Don't do anything special to your breathing, but breathe. And notice that oscillation, the in and out. We're going to return to that. That is the basis of life on earth, right? Respiring. A forest breathes. Human beings breathe. And that is like a touchstone. It's very reassuring. It's one reason it's the foundation of so much of mindfulness and just peaceful practices is the breath. And so now I want you to picture a stream of water moving from the top of your head or above the top of your head, down your spine and out. It could go out your butt, the base of your spine. It could go out your feet. Partly depends on how you're sitting and what feels good. The temperature of the water is a comfortable temperature for you. Just notice what that is. Is it warm? Is it hot? Is it cool? Make the temperature suit you. And allow it to cleanse you. Allow it to wash away anything that's right up front, top of mind. Anything you see in the guided meditation, you might, while this is happening, you may be watching your own body or in your body, experiencing it, feeling it, and noticing, oh, there's an obstruction there. You can take note of it and the water can go around it. And also if it's sort of superficial, you can see, is the water able to dislodge it and make its own pathway even smoother? Just allowing the water to move through you. Now let it go. Let it go out your limbs. Let it go out your feet, for sure. Now, out your hands. And what does that feel like? Does it feel like it's taking over? Is it your is it overwhelming? Is it okay? How does that feel? Okay. And now very gently allow the water to expand the channels, just so it still feels comfortable. Just so it still feels comfortable. Slight expansion in the channels. And you're observing it happen. As I describe it, it's happening. And it's still within comfort range. It just feels fine. Again, the temperature is a really nice temperature. There's an evenness and an equanimity to it. Ah, feels really good. Any desire to hold on to it, you can let the water take that away. If that's difficult, you can try to hold on to it and just see what happens. Allow it. This is definitely, you're surrendering to the water and you're allowing the flow. Even if allowing means noticing an obstruction. Okay. And now I'm going to drop a color into the water, and the color is green. It's the color of growth, of life, and it's also the color of money that we have learned in this culture. It's tinted green. The flow is the flow, and right now we're focused on the money flow. And see if that changes the flow in any way, and just notice, and if it does, notice where. Which part of your body? And how does it change it? Green is also the color of the heart. And you're just allowing this lovely temperature green water to move through you. And the color green is your color green. It's a color green that you find beautiful or meaningful. Not what someone else finds meaningful, what you love, the green you love. Could even be several colors of green, because green is such a beautiful color. Also the color of healing. And it's flowing in. Notice now your attention is at the top of your head and above the top of your head. You don't need to see the source, because you are this flow. At some larger, higher level, you are this flow. You own this flow. Your wise self knows this flow and is participating in some enormous larger flow. And you could say creating this flow such that you can receive it into your life. And again, very gently, there's an expansion of the pathways. Noticing where it feels good. Letting it go. And there's just this beautiful thing happening with the top of your head opening like a flower being watered. Something even more beautiful than that. Receiving this water stream, life-giving. And now you notice what's called your third eye chakra, the eye in the center between your eyes, your wise self, the wisdom eye. Just allowing it to be watered. There is a relationship, just like at the crown of your head. There's some relationship that the wisdom eye has with the water. And just observe that relationship. Don't try to do anything. Just observe the relationship for right now. You're just observing now in your throat what happens as the water moves through. Gently opening your self-expression. And now the green has found its level. It's reaching the heart. Your attention has reached the heart. And you're just noticing how it feels to receive this green, perfectly temperatured water, this flow into your heart. How does that feel? Just allowing it to feel how it feels. And it's continuing to move into your solar plexus. And you're just observing the relationship between solar plexus and this stream, this flow. Is there allowing or not? Or something else? Allow it to be watered and see what happens when you allow. Does it say yes? Does it say no? What does it say? Okay. And now move into your generative, creative, sexual chakra. Your womb, no matter what your gender, your creative, fertile place. Allow the water there, receive it there, rich and full, and just noticing, how does it feel? What is the relationship between that place and the water stream, the flow of money, the green stream? And now it continues on to the base of your spine, your root chakra, your butt, the place, your perineum, the place where you meet the earth when you're sitting, and out your feet, the soles of your feet. And how does that feel to allow the water, the money stream, there in the root of you and at the soles of your feet and out? And now I want you to go back up to the top of your head and speak quietly to yourself any word or give any image that will balance, open, expand, and allow a greater flow in at the top of your head so that it still feels comfortable. It just feels even better to allow money in, this flow of money in to the very crown of you. This place where you meet the cosmos. You're gently guiding and healing and coaching that place in you. There's no forcing. You're just allowing and noticing. Is there a corresponding response? Don't force, just notice. If there's a corresponding response in the direction that you wanted, wonderful. If not, also wonderful. Good information. It's all good information. We will think about the information in a little while. We're just noticing and allowing. And so now do the same when you come to your wisdom eye. Is the flow there, the relationship there with money, what you would like? Is the eye open, closed, something else? Give it a little suggestion if you want to. And allow it to be, allow it to respond how it responds. And we say, okay, thank you. And we just notice. And now we come to our throats. And how do we feel about the relationship between our throat and self-expression and this beautiful green flow of money that's so nourishing? How does it feel to the throat? Again, feel free to give a suggestion, gently to move it into the relationship that you would like. And observe the response. And this brings us to the heart and the opening of the heart to this flow. There may be many relationships that you feel with this money flow in your heart. Some good, some not so good. It's all okay. Just noticing, again, offering a suggestion. How might it feel? How could it feel? What is the healing needed? And the healing that's needed might just be listening. Our hearts are beautiful. The flow is beautiful. There's a natural resonance, and we don't need to force it or push it. And now we come back to the solar plexus. What is its relationship, and how would we like to shift the relationship if we want to shift? Is there more opening that we'd like? Is there more structure that we'd like? What is the relationship? As they meet, the money flow into our solar plexus. What does it feel like? And what is a gentle suggestion that might balance and heal? Anything that you want to balance and heal. Just allowing and noticing. And it's such a relief to just allow each of these. We can make a suggestion. We can just allow a response. And now we're moving into our womb, our creative, fertile space. And we notice the relationship with money flow. And we offer healing in any way that is needed. And we just breathe that sigh of relief. And we allow and we notice. What is the relationship? And then as we come to the root, we allow the flow into that solid, grounding, earthy root of ourselves. We allow that flow and we witness the relationship. This is often related to our survival, our very being on the planet. What is the relationship between it, this place in us, and the money flow? And likewise, out our feet, observing, making a gentle suggestion, observing the response and allowing very gently. Okay, so what you might have noticed for folks who are watching is obstructions. And we just had a really neat little brief discussion and sharing live. I really appreciated how different people receive the meditation differently. And I think the emphasis on gentleness, and allowing ourselves to receive as much information as we're able to. One of the cool things about having this as a recording is that you can go back and do it again. And hopefully things will be changing in the ways that your conscious mind, which is the part of the mind that's giving the suggestion, would like things to change. And what I'm trying to do in a meditation like this is getting all of our parts to work together when it comes to money flow, without being didactic about it, like I'm about to be in this next section, which is just going to be some teaching on ways to build your channels. So the meditation uses the body as the primary channel. You could see the channels outside yourself in the meditation, they're inside us. I don't always do a lot of teaching, but I have been writing and thinking about how to build our channels. And I am personally bored with make more money, spend less, save more. That can make sense. I budget. I'm very excited about knowing how much I spend and how much I take in. I'm literally excited about it. And not long ago, I posted about that in a post on being financially fierce. And it's not about being wealthy for me. It's about having accurate information and good information about my finances, what's coming in and what's going out. And I think I used to be someone who thought hoarding was a good idea and trying to have a lot was a good idea. And I'm not a person who has ever had a lot. I have earned a lot. Oh, I've received a lot. I don't even know if earning is the right word, but I've received a lot and I've spent a lot. And sometimes I save, but I think I'm more excited about my flow. And so what I want to do is just build the channels. And so there are two qualities that I want to emphasize about channels. One is that they be long-lasting enough. So it's different from hoarding. Long-lasting means you hold on to the money long enough to get it to do what you want it to do. Long-lasting channel. That it's not just easy come, easy go. That's the fool in the money coaching archetypes. And I have a very strong fool. And over time, what I realize is that that's actually a hatred of money. And I'm going to get to money hatred in a minute. But I think I have always been able to make money pretty easily, bring it in, and I would get rid of it. I actually remember when my mother died and left me some money, that there was this magical thinking going on that if I spent all that money as quickly as possible, my mother would come back. And I'm a very smart person. So I'm just saying, like, we can have views like that. And what was good was not that I was smart. What was good is that I could notice that. I could hear that voice in me and not spend all the money immediately. I think if we catch ourselves doing stuff like that, that we really have to look at what are we trying to achieve? And it has nothing to do with money itself, like what money's buying us. It doesn't have anything to do with that. So long-lasting channels, different scale of projects require different degrees of long-lastingness, right? If we just want to go buy something quickly that we need, it doesn't need to be all that long before we bring it in and we spend it, and there it is. If I'm saving up to go to France, it's going to take me a while. And I'm going to have to figure out how to hold on to money long enough to reach my goal. That's what I mean by long-lasting. And we may have a discussion about that. You know, what does long-lasting mean to you? And when is it just hoarding? I think for me, the quick definition would be, do I have a purpose for it? And it could be for my retirement. It could be something that's far in the future that is important to you. But personally, I don't think money buys security. So I don't think security is ever possible through money. They're like two different languages. Our culture wants us to think that money is security. And I think that's a lie and a shell game. I'm happy for other people to think differently about that. But I don't feel that money buys security. So security, there's never enough money. And I study wealthy people. Like, I mean, I read the Financial Times and I read about profiles of the wealthiest people on the planet. Many, many people do not feel they're wealthy at all. They have vastly more money than most of us participating in this video or watching it. Enormous amounts. And they don't feel that they have enough, that they've yet reached wealth. Well, I feel wealthy. I feel secure. And I think a lot of that is because I'm into the flow. I'm not into money as security and keeping it until I have enough to feel secure. I think that's scary and it focuses me on the wrong thing. So that's what I mean by long-lasting channels. When I talk about building your channels so that they become bigger, and this was very gentle in the guided meditation, it was not a time to blow out your channels. It's a time to notice them where there would be obstructions and maybe gently remove the obstructions, let the water, as one person said, weather the obstruction, notice if there was no passageway, notice if what the water was doing, just noticing. There's so much information that we can easily translate into our own conscious mind and understanding. There are 5 things I know to do to build our channels, to increase the size of our ability to receive. Increasing the size of the way, increasing our ability to receive is what I mean by building our channels. Money's coming in and money's going out. This is not a way of hoarding and holding on to the money. But to allow more money in, I think we need to look at our belief systems. And the place, the first place that belief systems come in this lifetime and past lifetimes, if you believe in past lifetimes, is who you've been hanging out with at a soul level, your karmic posse. And in this lifetime, your family, including your ethnic group, your epigenetic history, your ancestral history around money. I know mine. I know it because I see it sometimes show up in strange ways that I think, oh, that's probably not me. That probably comes from my ancestors coming over here on a boat, not speaking English, for example, and selling newspapers and vegetables. My father used to like to eat very, very green fruits and vegetables because in his family, they never got the fresh stuff. They kind of got stuff after his father couldn't sell it anymore. And I never felt like I grew up poor. That's not what I'm saying. But it's a strange thing. There's strange behaviors around money. And as a money coach, I deal with them as archetypes: the fool, the martyr, the warrior, the creator, the magician. When we look at our family history, we can say, oh my God, I'm just like Uncle blah, blah, blah. Or my grandmother used to do that. Why would we do that? Conversely, you might have great attitudes. I know people who sit around and talk about how their stocks are doing at the dinner table. I was kind of shocked, but I'd never heard of such a thing. And they were doing pretty well. You could maybe imagine that if you're comfortable in that way, that would be a good inducement to having more. That's a family history about money as well. So there's family history and unpacking that, right? I can't go into it in enough depth to give great detail in this video, but there is a lot in this course that I want to give you, and at least to point you to looking at your family history. Okay, that's one. The next one is the one I promised you a minute ago, which is hating money. And especially as spiritual people, I attract a lot of spiritual people. I'm a spiritual people myself. The lovely folks hanging out with me tonight are spiritual people. I think we often hate money. It's a very unusual spiritual person who doesn't somehow absorb a hatred of money, either because of religion or because of what money, the horrible things money does, the misuse of money does. And yeah, I think we can hate money, and there can be a lot of good reasons to hate money, and it doesn't help us build the channels. However we can find to do so, I think we can heal our spiritual relationship with money. It can even be that we're going to separate them, but I would rather have a spiritualized relationship with money. I would rather be all one thing and allow money to be part of my being, and a big part of my life is my spirituality. So somehow money has to jive with my spirituality. I have found ways for me to do that, and that's what I believe is really important. If you want to build your channels, one of the biggest things we can do is heal our spiritual relationship with money. And it may take a while because it's been years being a negative relationship. So the next thing is to allow our imagination to build our channels. And that gets back to guided meditation is one way to allow the mind's eye to see things and then very gently tweak them. How would you like to build your channels? Picture your channel and see how it wants to be increased, expanded, built out. What would that even look like? That's what this third way gives you permission to do that. I really trust our imagination. Our imaginations sometimes can constrain and limit us. But if we give ourselves the space to dream, the space to vision, we can come up with some amazing things. And we can trust that as a seed of creativity. Imagination by itself needs structure. It needs help. It needs us to commit and then be disciplined about following through. Right? Imagination by itself is not going to do the job. And I think our culture kind of sells us this idea that your vision, you just vision it. It's like you just drop the seed and poof, it's going to flower. And I really believe in tending the garden. And I absolutely believe in that seed, the imagination. And I want to know what's in people's imaginations. So often, especially lately, there's so much cynicism. People are like afraid to say, well, I see this for myself. I'm like, oh, thank God. Yes, let's hear it. Let's nourish that now that you have it. Okay. And then number 4 is, if this feels hard, to allow yourself to imagine, go back to number 1 and number 2. It's that important that you be able to see things and imagine for yourself what you would want. What does building your channels even look like? That if you can't allow yourself to do it, then it's probably family or spirituality. I'm going to guess. There's no good reason that your imagination's not enough. We learn sometimes to clamp down on our imagination, usually in childhood. Kids are amazing imaginers. So we want to return to that state and really allow. And the only things, well, for now, that I can think of that would get in the way are our ancestry, our inheritance around money, and our spiritual views of money, even if you think you're not a spiritual person. And then the last thing, the 5th way, is gratitude, which a lot of people talk about gratitude. I found that when I was trying to do a kind of an enforced gratitude practice, I really didn't like it and I didn't feel very grateful. If you have one and you love it and it works for you, wonderful. If you don't have one, start to get one. Gratitude is an incredible, incredible generosity generator. I feel very generous when I feel grateful. I know that I have enough. There's a feeling of enoughness. And it's like when they say priming the pump, it like primes the pump for the flow. So philanthropy is a great way to prime the pump, literally giving something away, letting go. It can be services, but if we're talking about increasing the money flow, I think we need to talk about giving away money. And I do mean giving it away, and with as few strings as possible. But that's only one thing, right? Some people do gratitude journals. I write thank you letters sometimes. Sometimes I give away recommendations on LinkedIn for people whose work I really love. If you have a practice, deepen it, challenge yourself to greater gratitude. I mean, there really is nothing more miraculous than being born here at this time on Earth. So there's some amazing gratitude that's possible just from that. And so deepen it and challenge yourself. And if you don't have any gratitude practice at all, if it kind of is new, then maybe start to think about one and just even start asking the question,